Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I was just in the process of getting ready to film the audio calibration of this theater, and it was going to be either a one part or a two-part video on the calibration and how to calibrate a home theater, kind of an updated version of some stuff that I didn't show last time I did this. But I got something last week that I want to share with you guys. So if you guys are new to my channel and you haven't been here for a while, then maybe you guys aren't aware that I'm also really into hi-fi music, two-channel reproduction. This is my vintage vinyl setup, which consists of the Pioneer SX 780 receiver, a Project Debut Carbon with a 2M red Ortophon cartridge, and then we have the InCherry KEF IQ90s, which I've had for about, I want to say 15 years now. I've had these things for a very long time, and they at one point were the front left and rights in my theater. And then I got the KEF THX in wall 3160s, and those became my front left and rights, or my LCRs in my theater. Well, the new purchase that I got and what I wanted to share with you guys is these black KEF XQ40s. And the reason I'm making this video is because I got a once in a lifetime deal on these things. It's the kind of deal that only comes up maybe once or twice if you're lucky in life. So these are, again, the KEF XQ40 loudspeakers. I believe they debuted in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. If so, I will put that up on the screen. They retailed for $4,500 back then. So a pair of those today in today's money with inflation, I really don't know what that equates to. Again, I will put that up on the screen. I'm guessing something like $6,000. Either way, I got these for $50. $50, which is just unreal. That is the best deal I've got ever anywhere. I go to a lot of vintage stores here or anywhere else that I go to when I'm on my travels, the rare times that I do get to travel. And I'm constantly checking eBay, Facebook Marketplace. And the whole point of this video is to not only share this awesome new purchase, but is to bring up a good point. Don't hesitate to look at the used market when you are considering buying anything for your two-channel music system or a home theater system. Half of the gear that I own came used. These KEF IQ90s, the cherry ones, those were bought used on eBay, I believe. And these black KEF XQ40s that I just got came from Facebook Marketplace. I'm pretty sure it was just a case of the guy not really knowing what he had and not being a speaker expert. Also, these speakers can be biamped. I don't know if that's going to come through, but he probably only had the top binding posts connected because they were missing the spade connectors, or the jumpers, I mean. So he was only getting the highs. So I'm pretty sure he just hooked them up and was like, okay, these things kind of sound like crap, because he was only getting highs and some of the, mid bass. But the way these are crossed over, I'm going to have to look into the specs. But if you know anything about KEF, they do the coaxial drivers with the tweeter in the center. And then it's a mid-range driver as well. And then these are bass units. So I'm sure if he had had them hooked up properly, he would not have sold them, or he would not have sold them for $50. And they are phenomenal. They are in incredible shape. There's no damage to them except for the gloss has some scratches, which probably aren't even coming up, but I will get a buffing kit for my orbital sander and just buff those scratches out, but they're not even showing up on camera. Everything else is perfect. There's no dents in the driver whatsoever. There's no tears in the rubber surrounds. There's no damage. They sound incredible. These are definitely the best speakers I've ever owned. They are now going to replace the IQ90s. I'll probably end up selling these. If I do decide to sell them and you live in the Pacific Northwest, go ahead and go to my homepage and send me an email if you're interested in purchasing these. I baby my gear, so these things are also in immaculate condition, but these things are far, far superior in sound to the IQ90s right there. And the reason being is because not only is it a trickle down technology from their reference series at the time, made it into this speaker, but the mid range driver with the tweeter is has its own enclosure inside the enclosure, so its own cabinet. Same with each of these. I believe these are 6-inch bass drivers or 6.5. I'll put it on the screen, the exact specs. But each one has its own cabinet. And it also has a, I want to say, 1/4 inch thick, maybe 1/8 of an inch thick aluminum baffle on the front. So they just weigh at least 20 to 30 pounds more. Again, I will put the specs of each speaker on the screen, but they are a night and day difference. Even my girlfriend, upon not listening to these speakers up here for about a month, because we've just been so busy, but we hadn't listened to vinyl up here for about a month. And then I connected them. She instantly said, wow, like it's just a night and day difference. And it has so much more low end and it just hits so much deeper. And it's so much more punchy than what the IQ90s can do. Before, you really did need a subwoofer with these IQ90s and the Cherry, but with these, you really don't need one. You could probably benefit from hooking up a 12 to these, but on their own, they do surprisingly well. So, the whole point of this video is to just remind you guys, if you're searching for gear for your 2-channel system or your theater, don't hesitate to look on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, eBay, any vintage stores that are around. Sometimes they get stuff in and they don't know what they have and they'll sell them for crazy prices. But you guys can end up saving hundreds, if not thousands of dollars by going to the used market. Of course, if you have the ability, try to test these things out, whether it's speakers, amplifiers, processors, whatever. Test them out if you have the ability to do so before you buy them. But sometimes you can just, take the risk if they're, cheap enough. But yeah, just keep that in mind when you guys are looking to buy gear for your audio system. I know some people in this community have kind of like a stigma. They only want brand new stuff. And if that's you, then that's totally fine. But a lot of times, so long as they're kept in a nice home, smoke free, like pet free, and they didn't abuse them, most people in this community of, a home theater or 2-channel hi-fi music lovers, they usually baby their stuff. So picking up something used is a great way to get high-end gear that's a couple years old, or even if it's a decade old. These things don't really get damaged so long as the owner didn't damage them. It's not like a car where, you have the mileage on it and then it gets, worn down over time and that engine and everything just gets worn in. This is, an entirely different animal. This stuff doesn't really get worse. The only thing that improves year to year is sometimes the materials, like the driver materials, the surround materials, um, the cabinet, the science, all that stuff advances. But there's nothing wrong with buying used speakers, used amps, used processors, so long as they work. I guess with processors, you only have to worry about the audio and video codecs that it supports. But with things like speakers, amplifiers, you can end up getting some pretty powerful stuff without having to spend a lot of money. We'll go over to the theater real quick, too, to just give you an example. So, back to my rack and the theater side of buying used gear. Everything here was bought new that you're seeing right now, as far as the power conditioner, the Blu-ray player, the AC Infinity fan, and the Marantz receiver. But the amplification for my speakers, all the stuff was bought used. I happened to get this Parasound, I believe, off of eBay, 2-channel, 125 watts. It's rated for THX Ultra 2. Then we got the Rotel RB1070, which powers 2 of my Dolby Atmos speakers. And then below, we've got the Rotel RMB 1075, which powers my LCR and 2 of my surrounds. Again, all this stuff bought used. Just a phenomenal way to save money buying gear used online on any site or any store that you happen to go to that sells used gear. So I would encourage you guys to consider the used market when you're trying to buy gear for your audio and or video system. So that just about does it for this video. The next video that I'll be posting will be the calibration video for my home theater. More than likely, that's going to be a 2-part video because it's going to be pretty long and I don't want to do a 30-minute video. So maybe 2 20-minute videos, depends. But that will be the next video or videos in the series, and then we will be back to regular content. So until then, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please help me reach 5,000 subscriber mark by hitting that subscribe button if you like home theater and 2-channel hi-fi and reviews. And please share this with a friend. And if you like the video, please hit thumbs up. So until next time, thanks for watching and happy listening.